Part of the challenge of this is helping people in a room to understand that this is personal. And it's personal for me, but it can be personal to them too. And the best way I have found to help them get there is to understand that these are all just numbers until it's your kid. And I don't mean the kids that you teach, I mean the ones that come home to you. When it's your kid and you see your kid being affected by a system that is, in some places, dysfunctional and misinformed, it takes on a whole different meaning. I'm Sam Forster. I am the founder of K12 Lift, which is a data reporting company that serves teachers and principals in public schools, hopefully helps them to see things that they haven't seen before and encourages them to do something about it.
Okay, we're gonna come back together in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. What is a possible formula to find perimeter? Braylon, share with me what you talked to Ariana about.
Perimeter is what's outside of it.
She said it's what's outside of the circle, so that might lead us to a formula. What did you say over here?
I'm Jen Baker. I'm a teacher at Riverside. I teach 4th grade math and science. Math can always be intimidating for kids, especially even adults. So just having an environment where kids feel safe to have really good math discussions, be honest about misconceptions and errors. I think that really lends itself for kids being excited about learning. I think that we've seen a lot of gains. We may not be where we want to be as far as proficiency, but kids who are making gains, it's very promising.
This is the biggest elementary school in the district, so we're close to 900 students. So we have a big school here and a lot of families. We're a Title I school. We have a rural area. We serve all kinds of students and families.
Born in Indiana, grew up in Putnam County, went to Stetson, went to Cornell, worked for Florida Power and Light, and then went into a family business. Went into another manufacturing business for a while, and in my late 30s, early 40s, thought, I just can't do this anymore. My wife helped me decide I gotta make a change. I pointed myself in the direction of public education, not knowing exactly what I wanted to do, but believing the work would matter. And I took a job in Putnam County as an associate superintendent in 2008. And then that led to a position at the Florida Department of Education in 2012. Part of my charge was supporting all of the underperforming schools in Florida. So we had a big team at that point supporting 400 schools. And a couple of the people that worked for me helped me understand how difficult it was to go into a district and then to a school and understand what was happening in the moment, right? Florida has been terrific for a long time in terms of state accountability data. It's well organized. In my opinion, the system is well conceived, certainly well understood by the people who are running schools and districts. But in terms of what's happening in the moment, that's a whole different problem set. And what they were confronted with was this realization that every district was a snowflake. For sure, every district, sometimes every school. And it was, A, it was frustrating, but B, it was really debilitating to try to figure out what was happening or not, right? I mean, if you're helping people through a problem-solving process, you need insight as to what the current situation is. And we didn't have it. Not for lack of effort on our part or their part. I mean, everybody was acting in good faith. It's really difficult to take the information that is available and present it in a way that is A, meaningful, and B, consistent district to district. So I think those are two examples of situations that made me realize there's a need here. And then that led to K12 Lift. I realized on the data end of things, we've got to do a better job. in combination with this reality that we had come to understand, which is the current reporting. It's not the data, it's the reporting that is provided to principals, to teachers, to state administrators, district administrators. It's not organized well. And it could be. And so we were given an opportunity to explore how to use progress monitoring data better. All pointed at the, hey, it needs to be clearer and it needs to be explained in such a way that people leave the conversation really understanding things they didn't understand before.
Usually, the picture that they're getting out of traditional reporting systems is showing them an overly positive view in terms of growth. It looks as if students are growing at a fantastic pace. And at the same time, it can make teachers think that students are coming into their classroom further behind than they really are. And so that makes them want to lower their teaching standard, right? So I got to fill in these gaps that appear in the data. And so I need to slow down. I need to reteach things they should have learned last year. Can't get to my content yet. That's one of the most common. The second most common is then at the middle of the year, they get feedback that tells them that's working. That they kind of lowered their expectations and then they're trying these interventions and the data is showing them that that was the right thing to do. And then they get to the end of the year and the student takes that final assessment that is like the one that counts for the state. And somehow students didn't get to where they thought they were going to get to.
When people talk about public education and specifically the role of assessment in public education, there are tons of assessments that are offered that are not particularly helpful. They don't help the kid. The information's not used in such a way that it informs instruction, and I am absolutely on the bus that we shouldn't be doing that. That said, we absolutely have to do progress monitoring. Otherwise, the only metric that you get is the once a year, after the fact, looking backward. I heard somebody describe this as trying to steer a boat by staring at the wake. It is useful to a point in terms of understanding how well a system served a group of kids, but it is not useful at all in helping us to understand what's happening right now as we try to improve how it is that we're serving students and teachers who are teaching those students. Progress monitoring gives us multiple bites of the apple over the course of a year so that that end of year assessment data can be better, so it can be closer to what we had been aiming at in the first place. That's the real benefit.
The value of K12 reports, they bring light to things that we haven't noticed before. So unfortunately, we've been putting a lot of students in intervention that didn't need to be in intervention. At the same time, we have students that are high-performing students that we're not continuing to challenge them. And so it's unfortunate that the students who score level 4 or level 5 are declining in their scores. And sometimes they even get to high school and it starts to be a real problem. And so the K12 reports really allow us to drill down to the student, think about their needs, and get them the help that they need if that's where it's at, or also just continuing to push them forward so that they're not declining.
So I think it's 1. I think it's 5.
So which one do you think makes the most sense, like right off the bat makes the most sense?
First one, 5.
Okay, so why does, I want you to write that one out. Why did that one immediately make the most sense to you?
Remember you're supposed to add. Because you're going to add.
Going back to that formula, right? Okay. As teachers, we tend to get in a comfort zone, just like most people do. So getting out of that comfort zone is something you really have to convince yourself to do, and believing that your students are gonna rise to the occasion.
In a system that has for so long been hyper-focused on that proficiency percentage at the end of a given year, at the end of a given period of time, K12 Lift provides educators with an opportunity to look behind that curtain. A classroom might have 63% proficiency, and because that's higher than the state average in a given subject area or grade level, that may seem Great. Or a classroom might have 27% proficiency, and because that's lower than the state average in a given subject area or grade level, that's really bad. And typically that's where the conversation ends. We have proficiency, and that's a good thing, or it's a bad thing, or it's somewhere in between. We always want to be better, whatever it is. K12 Lift says, okay, yeah, we've got proficiency, but what's actually happening with the students? Yeah, 27% of them were proficient, but look, 68% of them improved their percentile rankings this year, or grew quickly enough, according to these metrics. It gives us a way to look at the data differently and not end the conversation with proficiency. It allows us to see trends and patterns that proficiency on its own can miss, and it allows us to start taking action before the end of a given year that we would not otherwise take if we were just looking at proficiency and not also looking at things like percentile rankings.
So there's one problem, the over-reliance on proficiency. And please understand me, it is an important metric. It's just not the most important metric, especially on the ends of the academic continuum. So there's one problem. Second problem I would say that we see over and over and over again is that systemically we have amnesia. Like, we start every school year believing that we don't know where students are coming from. And that seems bonkers to me. I mean, in most cases, students have been in the same school system for years. I mean, you know a lot about that kid, but that a lot in terms of what they have done or not learned yet, it's not reported.
We always just kind of focused on the scale score or the levels, and the percentile rank gave us a projection of where, our students would maybe be on PM3. So that kind of shifted our thinking on more looking at percentile rank and not just looking at scale score and levels.
Okay, so we're talking formula. Let me be a little more specific. Let's take area, for instance.
It's allowed me to look a little more closely at subcategories, I would say, and knowing which of those subcategories are actually moving or actually making gains. Are they moving backwards? And where do we need to step in with those different subgroups? I was curious what it was about, but when I saw examples of the data in the Rural Connect trainings, that's when I really realized that it could be something very beneficial as a teacher to take away from the trainings.
So if you're looking for the total distance around, it works to add those links, right? What did you guys talk about over here?
So when you add it together, that's how you found the length around the square.
Around the square of the rectangle, what did you talk about?
Our visuals are, first of all, beautiful to look at, right? Like, they are pleasing when you see one. They're designed with the user in mind and the audience specifically in mind. So we have been on the ground working and being in conversations with teachers and thinking about how teachers might talk to students, and then how principals and teachers would interact and around what, and how school leaders might need to present to districts and what they would talk about. Ours are designed to be one page most of the time, something that can be projected and everyone will, be able to see it all in one place. They don't have to set filters and go and, find different things. It's just right there, a visually compelling image that tells a story.
We noticed that we, K12 Lift, were described by many when they would introduce us to a group of faculty, for example, or teachers, as the data company. The point is not the reporting. The point is the instruction, and whether or not teachers, principals have feedback that would help them improve that. But the idea that we were pigeonholed as the data company and organized in terms of district projects primarily as reporting made us realize that this is a problem, because if that reporting isn't seamlessly integrated with training that helps teachers know what to do next and how to do it next, this isn't going to go anywhere. We are not educators. We're not professional coaches. It was a missing piece. And it never felt like the right answer was for us to try to be something we aren't. But we needed somebody who is established and credible in that lane of providing extraordinary training to teachers that is content focused. And that's what ultimately led us to NEFAC.
How do we measure whether a student is growing quickly enough?
Those kids that are lower performing, they have to grow faster than everybody else. That's right, more than a year's worth of growth.
Part of looking at that aggregate view and trying to answer that question of what's going on in Tier 1 instruction, a really important part of that is looking for potential outliers and how potential outliers can skew from what's really going on.
You have experiences as educators, whether it's the teaching experience or the leadership experience, but that's going to inform your decisions that you make and how you interpret that data.
This is a group of people that really take what they do seriously. I'm not kidding you, by the second time we saw them do our content in the context of Rural Connect and their group, they were doing it better than we were. They frickin' nailed it.
So NEFAC was established as a way to serve rural districts, to provide services and programs that they could not afford alone. When our districts band together, they're able to get better services, and we provide those. There are a lot of grants that we apply for that benefit all of our districts, and there are platforms that NEFAC is able to host that the districts would not be able to get on their own. So it really is about the network and the coming together to provide quality services.
We've been a part of a research grant for the past 6 years that has allowed us to learn a lot about education practices that are happening, education research that has been taking place, and what it looks like when you try to implement that. We've always valued data and using data as sort of a driving factor behind making some of the decisions. There were some problems that were arising, specifically around assumptions teachers were making or perceptions teachers had about themselves. And as we're coming out of really, I guess, the second year of struggling with teachers in that journey, in comes K12 Lift with reports that do the thing that we knew had to exist somewhere, that do the thing that we were craving, but we didn't exactly know what it was. And the sort of shift in perspective that these reports provide answers that question of where are students actually at right now.
So Sam and I have been creating over here, right? And trying things out in the field and failing and trying again, and then starting to get some traction and getting some people saying this is good, you should get this out there. And so we do, and we're doing it all over here. And then we meet these folks and they've been doing their work for years and doing the same thing, right? Like people are like, this is really good work. You should keep doing this. And then we meet each other and, we had that kind of instant connection.
K12's data provides emotionally compelling visuals that we are able to have teachers interact with in different steps. We break them into sorts, and we have them moving things around. Like, okay, what can you take away from this visual? Does this look good? They'll say, oh yeah, just a resounding yes, this is good. And then we add a layer. We give them some more context and have them play with the ideas again. Different conclusions that can be drawn from the next layer of visuals. And say, okay, now is it good? They're like, it might be good. I'm curious. Then we add another layer of context. They rearrange their thinking again, all the while collaborating with the team. And by the end, they went from a resounding, yes, this data is good, to, well, it might not be good, to, this is probably not good. And so the intention with which K12 Lift has designed the visual supports, not only for teachers, but also the supports and resources they've given to us as we train with those materials. There are facilitation guides, there are slide decks, there are notes with potential misconceptions. It's through all of those pieces that we're able to bring teachers to the understanding and the conclusions that will transform their instruction.
To show up at an event and see what they've done with it, and I was so proud, this is what this could be. And there were, 40, 50 people benefiting from it who I would not have been able to reach on my own.
When we saw them do their training, the lights started coming on for me about what had been missing. Like, I only understood it was missing conceptually. I didn't understand how good it could actually be.
Once you've finished your third eye contact snowball fight, take whatever paper you've got and head back to your seats. Are we ready? All right, let's stand up. Eye contact. Make sure they make eye contact back.
Yeah.
Oh, there they go, there they go. All right, what I'd like you to do now is I'd like you to open up the paper you've got, take a look at what is written there. If you've got something that you think is really shareable, share it out. Gina,
this is so good. Rural Connect has impacted collective efficacy at my school as it has been the spark we needed to start the work. So good. At the beginning of our journey, teachers would make excuses not to attend planning meetings or would quote contract. Now they're coming with text in hand, on time, ready to work and share.
All right.
So good.
I love it.
This teacher has exponential growth at PM2. Seeing her get recognized at PLC for ELA growth, 95% learning gains.
Ooh, wow. I love it.
Rural Connect really gets that engagement piece back into the classroom. The students are collaborating together, working together. They're using instructional strategies to learn the content, and it puts excitement into the classroom among the teachers and the students.
Just the instructional practices alone that I've learned to be able to bring back into my classroom and implement with my students. We've already seen some growth within our entire school since Rural Connect was implemented. So the results within my own classroom I've seen is students being more comfortable collaborating, students being more apt to think out of the box, being okay with having incorrect answers, but learning through that process.
We've gone from a D school to now a B school, and we are striving to make an A, and all the routines and structures that we've put in place have got us to where we are, and it's not going away. Our journey is still continuing to this day.
Our teachers are excited. They're seeing what the impact with us going from a D to a B, and then all the learning gains with the lowest quartile students. It's just phenomenal to see the growth. So they're seeing the fruits of their labor. It's been something that we know we're going to continue on. This journey does not end.
It's just been a great relationship. I would describe it as a win-win because we needed them to give us a different perspective on data analysis and be able to present that to our districts. And I think they needed us for the relationships that we had and the professional learning that we were offering, and to be a part of that because, again, I keep saying relationships, but those relationships have to be there because sometimes data conversations are hard, and they're more receptive to that if we have built that relationship through our professional learning.
There was an immediate recognition on both sides that we needed each other. We're building each other's confidence in our work as we go along. And that wasn't something we could have anticipated. That was just kind of like the happy magic that came about.
What I hope happens is that we continue to grow this partnership so that we can continue to develop teachers, train teachers into reframing how they think about data, getting these tools in their hands, and then most importantly, after we get the tools in their hands, to properly diagnose what's actually going on with instruction, what's actually going on in their class, then give them the tools and resources they need to do something about it.
We saw some things that she's doing right with her level 1 kids. Why is this so important? Why might it be so important to celebrate?
We can't afford to lose more teachers.
We can't afford to lose them. We've got to encourage them. We've got to have something positive to bring before them, right? Like when they look at this data, we want them to gain confidence and courage.
I've seen so much growth in my kids this year. I've learned that the higher we set the bar, the closer the kids are going to get to it, even some of them reaching it and going beyond. So my thinking has definitely changed on my expectations of my kids. So we use a lot more of the instructional routines, which they all lend themselves to really good conversations that kids are having, and that does include the foundational skills. Also, the rigor of the questioning that we're presenting them with has really led them to have higher achievement when presented with the more rigorous tasks.
Through Rural Connect, the students are excited about their learning.
There is something different here. Like you can't do that by accident. There's something to be learned here.
I truly think the 5 of us value learning more than we value the current knowledge that we have. We truly value an opportunity to get better. We truly value an opportunity to think differently, to invite someone else's thinking into our own mind and see what that is. And the team at K12 Lift, I would define them in that exact same way.
The growth of students and the growth of us and the growth of the coaches and the administrators, everyone who's been involved has been able to grow a little bit. And so, you know, when you talk about moving the needle and seeing the success of kids like beyond, like we are a team of learners, and having the clarity that the reports bring to the data conversations that we've been having for years and years with educators. But it's like, y'all point straight to the trends, the patterns. It's like you shine a flashlight, but it's a brilliant rainbow of colors that just brings light to those things that we need to focus on. And then when we don't get it, you ask the right probing questions to get us there. And we hope that we've been able to do that with the people that we've been in front of.
Growth is energizing though. Like growth is what makes you want to stay in the field that you're in. It's what's going to retain teachers. It's what feels good on this team, our growth together.
Yeah.
And I think that is a piece that sometimes is missing in education because it's easy to get comfortable. It's easy to be teaching the same subject for years in the same grade level and get comfortable. It's easy for opportunities to be overlooked to grow people. And we have watched people grow through the framework of Rural Connect and through the K12 Lift reports, and not just grow in their own practice, but grow outside of their role and start impacting other people. And that has been super rewarding and energizing. It just fuels the momentum and wants you to keep going.
I want to believe that it is possible to do really good work that challenges people and supports them, right? That helps teachers to confront their realities truthfully, but also helps them to understand they are the solution. It's not about blame, it's about truth-telling and love.
It's doubling those 2 lengths, okay?
2 times 23 plus 18 is the same as 23.
Excellent.
23 plus...
I'm gonna be honest with you guys. When I was thinking ahead, what might some misconceptions be? I really thought that was one that you all were not gonna pick. So I'm really proud of you guys for analyzing those expressions and being able to say, wait a minute, 2 times adding those together would really be the same thing, wouldn't it? So excellent job on that.
I think that student collaboration has been huge this year. It's allowed students to also become more comfortable with discussing misconceptions and errors, which has then led to a lot of learning throughout the entire room. One misconception can lead to many conversations that take us back to those foundation skills that we're constantly trying to build upon.
I would tell every person in Florida, if you have not had this training, you need to have the training with the reports that K12 Lift provide and the professional learning that NEFEC provides. It sets a level playing field for all, and you will see a dramatic change in your school culture.
The excitement that you see in the building, that teachers and their PLCs are talking, planning, they even look at their data in our kindergarten team. They do an excellent job like pinpointing which benchmark after the assessment's given, what do we need to do, and they start making instructional routines for all of those benchmarks, and they break it down, and so that one teacher doesn't have all the responsibility. Now this teacher's doing one, this teacher's doing, then they bring them back and share them. So they're making a bank to use every year so that they'll have a lot of resources to pull from. So we're seeing that This has made, like I said, a way of work for all of our teams. They are excited about looking at their data and planning from their data as a team, where sometimes it would be, oh, it's just my data. It's not just my data anymore. It's our school's data. Let's look at it. Let's problem solve together, and let's use these instructional routines and these K12 reports to help us grow as a school, not just me, myself, and I.
Everything we're doing, it's for the kids. It's always about increasing student outcomes. That's why we all come to work every day. But I think so often it is done at the expense of the adults. The people who are helping the kids are devalued every day. And I just feel like so often it has to do with time. Like it always comes back to that theme. We have 8 hours, we're just gonna keep cramming things in. Like it's always on top of and added on. Nothing's ever stripped out. Like we never say, you know what, we probably don't need to do that if we're gonna do this. We just pile it on there. You know, we'll just push something around. That is the system that we're working within. It is everywhere. They are working within a system that is beyond them. It's compounding. But we're all saying this is about the kids, like it's for the kids. And so you have adults who are walking around like zombies, not feeling particularly joyful.
How can the work be legitimately joyful and still powerful, productive? People come to work and they want to be valued. They want to have enough time to do good work, to learn themselves, to get better at what they're doing over time. Like this seems, that's what people want.
Right.
That's what we all want.
What I hope teachers would get from this is a feeling of empowerment. They have the awareness now of how they can look at assessment data, and even if it weren't K12 Lift visuals, they would know just a couple questions to ask to get that context that they need, right? So if someone were to come in and say, I have this great report and it's showing that your kids' scale scores went up from the beginning of the year to the middle, they would know enough now to say, but how did their percentile ranking do? And what was it last year, right? And with just that, it's a huge shift.
The most important is whether or not the instruction in a given classroom is effective, meaning a high percentage of students are learning a year's material in a year's time, some of them more than that if they came in below grade level. That's what we have to know. Have to know. I want to change that conversation. So as we grow as a team, we're all, ultimately, that's the thing we're pointed at. And that brings joy. Like if we can change that messaging, those sets of expectations, and return, I say return, I hope that public education used to be seen as a noble profession. I want us to get there. This is worth doing. The people in it are worth serving. Who does K12 Lift serve? Who are we for? Ultimately, it is about whether or not students are getting a better education in our public schools. It is about that. But that's not gonna happen if we don't make the interactions between teachers and kids more joyful and more predictably, routinely, systematically productive. So I can't get to the kids part of it unless I am pointed squarely at the teacher part of it. And the thing is, I can't say that we're about the teachers, because teachers do not have influence over their own systems. And I don't take any joy in saying that, but it is their bosses and their bosses' bosses and their bosses' bosses' bosses and legislators that dictate terms for what a teacher experiences in a classroom largely. So I can't really be about them either. I gotta be pointed directly at the people who are making decisions about how to support them. And if I can influence those decisions and the quality of feedback that is being used to inform those decisions, I hope that teachers are given better opportunities in terms of training that leave them feeling inspired, empowered, encouraged, and ultimately that results in them experimenting with their instruction, feeling more joyful, more productive, and kids learn more. Like ultimately, that's what it's about.